Hello and welcome back to our lessons. In this video, we are going to learn how to send automated WhatsApp messages or notifications whenever a user completes a survey from TypeForm. Note that this concept may also apply from any other form builder services similar to TypeForm that offers Webhook, because we are going to use TypeForm Webhook to do this. So we are going to use Pabbly Connect to automate the connection between Typeform, and then we are going to use MMIO to send our WhatsApp notifications. So let's have a preview how this looks. For example, this is a form. So this could be any form, like it could be a lead generation form, it could be an order form, it could be a survey or any other form. But for now, we are going to use this as an order notification. So this is used for admins, and we are going to notify via WhatsApp whenever this form is completed. So let's say the customer name is Jane Doe. Okay. And then we are going to input the phone number of our customer. So remember that it must be internationally formatted before it would work, because WhatsApp only accepts correctly formatted phone numbers. And then for the order number, let's just say 54321. And then for the order status, we are going to say it is processing. And then for the customer order, let's say 3 pieces candy bars. And then for the total amount, let's just say this is 150. And then let's see what would happen after we submit the form. Alright, so as you can see, right after we submit the form, we receive a WhatsApp notification here. So this is from a WhatsApp template, and we simply supplied the details from that WhatsApp template, which is from Typeform. Okay, so I am going to show you how we can build this automation using Typeform, Pabbly Connect, and Marketing Master IO. So again, this could be any other use case like lead generation, where you capture the email and output the email notification, or a booking schedule. Whenever you want a WhatsApp notification like this, the same concept would apply for any other form builder. Okay, so let's say that we have already configured our questions here, and the answers to our questions are the data that we need to send in our WhatsApp notification. So after adding your questions, we are going to configure the webhook. So go to connect, and then after that, let's go to webhooks. And then here we added our Pabbly Connect webhook. So we are going to start from scratch. Let's just disable this one. And then instead of using this Pabbly Connect workflow, we are going to start from scratch. So I am going to open a new tab here, and then I am going to create a new workflow. So let's just name this workflow as Typeform MMIO WhatsApp Demo. Let's create. All right, so the first thing that we need to do here is we are going to configure a webhook. So choose webhook on the app options, and then we are going to copy the webhook URL. So copy this webhook URL, and then it would wait for our response. So we are going to go back to our Typeform configuration, and then we are going to add a webhook, and then paste your webhook here, and then save the webhook. And then we are going to enable our newly created webhook, which is this one. And then to supply the data being requested by Pabbly Connect, we are again going to fill up our Typeform. So we are going to enter a brand new name. Let's just say Johnny Doe. And then for the phone number, I'm going to use the same phone number so that we can receive the message. Note that the phone number that the customer needs to enter here must have a WhatsApp account or must be connected to WhatsApp. And then the order number, let's just say 1111. And then for the order status, we are going to say it is on hold. Then click OK. For the order items, let's just say 4 pieces chocolate cake. And then after that, for the total amount, let's just say 2222. All right, so the data has been submitted to Pabbly Connect. Let's see if we receive that response here. Okay, so we have just received the data, and this is the response received. Now, the next thing would be to map our response. So let's trigger another action here. And for this one, we are going to use API app. And then for the action event, we are going to use custom request. And then for the method, we are going to use post request. And then for the URL endpoint, here we need to enter the native webhook from marketingmaster.io. So I have already prepared a flow here for MMIO, but I want to start from scratch. So make sure that you have already prepared a WhatsApp template here. So if we go to our WhatsApp account, I have already created lots of template here, and this is the template that we are going to use. Okay, so this is how you create a WhatsApp template. So we have a header here, and then we use what we call the WhatsApp native variables by using this add variable button. And then we composed our WhatsApp template, and this should be the preview or the output. So that's what we saw here. New update for your order. Hello, and then this is the first name. So once you have your WhatsApp template approved, we should be able to use that on our MMIO WhatsApp account. So if we go to WhatsApp and then go to templates, we should be able to see that this template is on our templates list. So this is the template that we need, the order underscore confirmation. So since we have already prepared a WhatsApp template, we can use that to create a WhatsApp flow. So go to WhatsApp and then go to flows, and then we are going to create a new flow. So let's name our flow as TypeForm Pabbly and MMIO demo. Let's click OK. And after that, we are going to create a new element, and that element is a template element. Okay, let's configure our template. We are going to use the template that we have created in WhatsApp. So the template is this one, order confirmation. This one, order confirmation. Okay, use that template. So as you can see here, we need to supply the variables so that we can configure this template correctly. Because if we don't configure the variables here, then our WhatsApp message will not be sent. It will return an error. So these values will be coming from Pabbly Connect. Okay, so for testing purposes, let's just enter a fixed value, and then later on we are going to configure it to become dynamic so that we can pass the value from Typeform to Pabbly Connect to our MMIO WhatsApp template. So let's just say the first variable would be the first name. Let's just name this as Mark. And then the second variable would be the order ID. Let's just say the order ID is 777. And then the third variable is the order status. Let's just say this is completed. And then for the variable number 4, this is what we have ordered, 1 piece fried chicken. And then for the fifth variable, this is the total amount. Let's just say 200 US dollars. Okay, let's confirm our template for now, and then later on we are going to make these values dynamic. Confirm our template and then save our flow. Great, we have just saved our flow. The next step would be to get the webhook URL of this flow. So to get the webhook URL, just click this View Webhook URL button. So click this, and we should be able to see our webhook URL here. So click this webhook URL to copy. All right, we have just copied the webhook URL to our clipboard. And as you might have guessed it correctly, This is the webhook URL that we are going to supply to our Public Connect workflow. So let's go back to our Public Connect workflow. And on our endpoint URL, we are going to paste the MMIO WhatsApp native webhook URL that we just copied earlier here. All right, so as you can see here, we have a variable here, the contact ID. The contact ID, that's the WhatsApp number of the WhatsApp account where we are going to send our notifications to. So we are going to replace this variable with the value from our webhook capture response. So we are going to map that value by clicking the capture webhook, and then we should be able to see that value here, the WhatsApp number that was coming from our TypeForm. Okay, so this is the phone number that we need. So we are going to click this, and then instead of this value, the contact ID variable, we are going to delete that because the value that we needed would be coming from our mapped webhook response. Okay, so we have configured our endpoint URL correctly. Now we are using custom requests, so we need to add the data here in the value of JSON. So the payload type should be in JSON. And since I have already prepared the JSON data here, we are just going to copy this JSON data because this is the response that we need here. So in Public Connect, to format our JSON response, we have to do it manually. So I'm going to show you how we can format this manually. Okay, that's the first name and then the user data. And then under the user data, so let's add space here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. And then let's add a line break here and line break here as well. So let me pause the video and then I will resume it after I finish formatting our request. Okay, so I have already formatted our JSON data. So the fields that we need here is first name or first underscore name and then user underscore data. These are the basic fields that MMIO WhatsApp webhook accepts. And then inside of your user data, you are free to add any type of fields or key here. So the phone number, order status, order items, total amount, it's really up to you what you want to call them because these are the JSON keys that we are going to use when we are going to format our WhatsApp template later on. So again, the data here, what's important is the first underscore name field and then the user underscore data field. So any dynamic variables that you wish to enter or to use when sending a WhatsApp message in Marketing Master IO native webhook can be added inside of our user data object. And again, the object keys of your user data object is really up to you. It's really up to you what you want to place here. Okay? But for this lesson purposes, we use the phone underscore number, order underscore number, order underscore status, order underscore items, and then total underscore amount. Those are the JSON keys that we used. We are free to do otherwise, so it's really up to you. So the first name, we are going to get this from our mapped response. So let's delete this. By the way, when we are working with JSON, make sure that you have the double quotation here. So this is the opening double quote, and this is the closing double quotation. We must wrap the data inside of our double quotes. So we have the first name right here. So let's map that. Okay, so this is the first name, Johnny Doe. And then we are going to replace this as well. The phone number, we are going to map that data. So let's search for that. That number is this one. Okay, so let's supply that number here. And then for the order number, that should be coming from here as well. Okay, let's search, and that is the response with value 1111. That's the order number. For the order status, let's search for that as well here. It should be answers. And then the field is on hold, this one. And then for the order items, let's search for this one. Okay, answers. And that should be this value, 4 pieces chocolate cake. And then for the total amount, let's replace this with this value, 2222. That's the total amount. Okay. All right, seems we have configured everything correctly. We have our first name mapped correctly to Johnny Doe value. The phone number key, which is under the user data object, have this phone number from our value from the TypeForm. And then the order number, order status, order items, everything is, I think this is configured correctly. We can now send our test request. So let's save and test a request. Okay, so we receive the response, hello Mark. Order number is 777. So as you can see, these are not the values that's coming from our type form because the response should be Johnny Doe, and then the order number should be 1111, and then the order status should be on hold. But what we receive here, the order number is 777, the name is Mark, the total is 200 instead of 2222. The reason is we haven't created or we haven't configured our MMIO flow to become or to have dynamic values. So if we go back to our flow, these are the fixed values that we configured earlier. As you can see here, Mark 777 completed 1 piece fried chicken and then 200 US dollars. So we need these values to become dynamic. And the way to do that is by mapping the user data keys here. So example, what we need is the order number. So we are going to copy the order underscore number object key from our user data and then go back to MMIO, and this should be the variable that we are going to use. Okay, order underscore number. Make sure that we have double opening curly brackets here and then double closing curly brackets to close our custom variable. And then the variable key here is coming from our user data object, the order underscore number. And then for the first name, we are going to use this key. So copy that key and then go back to MMIO. And instead of Mark, we are going to make this as dynamic. Double opening curly brackets, paste the first underscore name, and then double closing curly brackets. Now for the third variable, which is the order status, we are going to go back to Pabbly Connect and then copy the key here and then go back to our MMIO flow, delete the fixed value, double opening curly brackets, and then paste the key, which is order underscore status, and then close it with a double closing curly bracket. And then here, we are going to enter the variable key from order items, just like what we did before. And lastly, for the total amount, we are going to make it dynamic as well. Now, this is a fully configured template. We are going to confirm this, and then we are going to save our flow. Our template values should now be dynamic depending on the values that is applied by Pabbly Connect. Now, if we try to save and send our test again, we should receive a dynamic value. All right, so as you can see, we finally receive a dynamic message. The first name has changed, the order number, and the total amount. So the first name is Johnny Doe, that is correct. And then the order number is 1111. The order items is 4 pieces chocolate cake, and the total is 2222. So we need to add a currency here. So our currency in this case isn't dynamic, but you can add a dynamic currency if you want. So let's just say I want to add a dynamic currency, and let's say that the value is USD, And what we can do is add the currency object key back to our MMIO flow. So instead of just total amount, let's add here currency. Great. So we have configured the total amount with currency, and we are going to save this flow. And then let's go back to Pabbly Connect. And what we're going to do is we are going to resend a request. So let's minimize this and send our request again. Okay, so after resending our request, we now have the variable here, which is the currency, and the value is USD. So that's pretty good. So as you can see, the values here under the user data object is dynamic, meaning you can add any object keys here and the values, and you can just use any of the keys here back to your MMIO flow. Now let's try this finally by filling up the form directly from our TypeForm. So let's just save this workflow first. We're going to save this workflow. And then what we're going to do is we are going to refresh our TypeForm, and then we are going to fill up our TypeForm again. And then for the name, let's just say Peter Parker. Okay, that's the name, Peter Parker. And the phone number, it should be the same WhatsApp number so that we can receive the WhatsApp notification. And make sure that the format is internationally formatted. And then the order number, I'm going to say the order number is 2314. And then the order status, let's just say it is processing. And then click OK. After clicking OK, next would be the order. I am going to say 5 pieces candy tower. Okay, click OK. And after that, the total amount, and I'm going to say 250. So I'm going to click submit. And after submitting, we should receive the message here. All right, so as you can see, we received the message. New order update. Hello, Peter Parker. This is to inform you that your order number 2314 is now processing. To review, here are the details of your order. Order items is 5 pieces candy tower, and the total is 250 US dollars. So that's it. That's how you build a WhatsApp notification using Typeform, Pabbly Connect, and MMIO. So I hope you learned a lot in this lesson, and see you on our future videos.